Everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about something called a profit margin, which will express as percentages. So we'll talk a little bit about percents. And ultimately, we want to use profit margins to make business decisions because profit margins will help us talk about the profitability of items. In order to do this, we're going to talk about a scenario with the Wildcat store. So in the Wildcat store, we have hoodies and zip-up sweatshirts, two examples for today. And with the information below, we're going to figure out which item is more profitable. Okay, so on top here, you see our price list. So we sell at the store, so thinking like a business, our hoodies for $30. So customers would pay us $30 for the hoodie. Okay, we also sell our full zip sweatshirts for $40. Okay, what you see below this is an invoice. So another word for invoice is like a receipt from the person who sells us these items. Okay, so our hoodie, we ordered 20 of them. Each one of them cost us $17. So we sold them for $30, but we bought each one for $17. Since we bought 20 of them, it's $340 total. Okay, the full zip hoodies, we bought 20 of those too. Each of those was $30. They cost us a total of $600. But the full zip, we sell them for $40, we bought them for $30. That's the important information you need to know to solve our profitability question. Which one's more profitable? I'm going to fill this information into this table here. So the hoodie, our selling price is $30. Okay, our unit expense, remember expense means cost for the business. So what did we spend on the hoodie? And if you go to this invoice or our receipt, each hoodie was $17. Okay, whereas a full zip, we are selling them for $40 in the store. They're embroidered, they're a little more expensive. Our unit expense, aka how much did we spend on one full zip? You go to our invoice, the rate per each one was $30. Okay, make sure you're filling that information in here. Better yet, let's make this a different color. There you go. My writing versus the writing that was already there. It's all red. So first thing we're going to do is just remember how to calculate profit, and then we'll jump into profit margins. So remember, profit on the hoodie, you sell it for $30, but you bought it for $17. You have that $30 from the customer, but you have to take away or pay back the $17. Your profit is going to be 30 minus 17, which $30 minus 10 would be 20, minus 7 is $13. Okay, so $13 is just your profit on the hoodie. That should be a review. Okay, take a moment and calculate the profit on the full zip, and I'll come back in a moment with the answer. Okay, if done correctly, you sold the hoodie or the full zip for $40, but it cost you $30. So in each sale, you would keep $10, 40 minus 30. That should be a review. What I want to talk about today is the profit margin. The profit margin is going to tell you the percent of the sale you are keeping, okay, which is more useful to talk about profitability because oftentimes you're comparing things that cost different amounts. So for example, I might sell a jacket for $100 and be like, ooh, that costs a lot. It must be really profitable. Well, is it profitable if you had to pay $95 for that jacket? No, because you'd only be keeping $5. Versus you could have like a $10 item that you bought for $1 and you're keeping $9 on that sale. That is more profitable. So you can't just look at the selling price. You can't just look at the profit. We have to look at the percentage, which is the profit margin. Okay, so by definition, the profit answers what percent of the revenue are you keeping? Okay, so revenue, again, is income. We're looking for what portion of that income you are keeping. For example, if I start a business, dog walking, okay, and the owner gives me all the supplies, I don't have to buy anything, my profit margin would be 100% because I'm keeping 100% of the income that I bring in. So I'm going to write that down. Dog walking with no expenses. I guess, some dog walkers could have expenses, but let's say we have no expenses. Your profit margin would be 100%. Go ahead and write that example down. Okay, another example. Okay, let's say you are selling some candy bars and you sell your candy bars for $2 each. Okay, but you had to pay $1 for that candy bar. So your profit on that candy bar is, well, 2 minus 1 is still 1. Okay, what percentage of the revenue are you keeping? You're keeping half of it because you're keeping $1 out of $2. So your profit margin would be 50%. You're keeping half of every sale because you paid $1 and you sold it for $2, so you're only keeping $1. Okay, those are good examples to talk about 100% or 50%. I think they make intuitive sense. So back to the hoodies and full zips, let's talk about how you would calculate this. So profit margin is what percent of the revenue or income are you keeping? Okay, the way you calculate that is you would take your profit and divide it by your revenue. Profit divided by revenue. Okay, profit could be total profit, it could be profit per unit. It doesn't matter, in what context, you would calculate the same way. So this is the formula. Let's even label that. Okay, you take whatever your profit is and divide it by your revenue. For example, if I'm going to calculate the hoodie, I would do $13 divided by my revenue, which again, revenue is your income. Okay, your income is what you're bringing in on each sale, which on this sale, the customer hands me $30 to pay for that hoodie, so my income is $30. So your profit would be $13 out of $30, which means for every $30 a customer hands you, you're going to keep 13 of that. It makes sense we use profit in this because it's a profit margin. Okay, but you're probably wondering, Miss Mancini, I thought profit margin was percent, like 100% or 50%. Well, any fraction can be converted to a percent, and I'll show you how to do that. I write this as a fraction as 13 over 30. It's really 13 divided by 30. So we can plug that into our calculator. 13 divided by 30, or 13 over 30. And then it gives you this decimal, which is 0.433333. I'm just going to translate that into 0.43. Okay, it's rounded. Okay, then if you want to convert this to a percent, you just move the decimal place over twice, or you can multiply by 100, and you see that it's 43.33333%, which I will just round to approximately 43%. And that would be your profit margin on the hoodie. Okay, make sure you have this written down, as that's a good example. Okay, I'm going to have you try this one on your own. So you have the full zip info. Go ahead and try and calculate the profit margin, see what you get, and I'll come back with the answer in a moment. Circled my final answer here, but just to recap, profit divided by revenue. So you profit $10 on that full zip sale. You brought in $40. So you're keeping 10 out of $40, which is 1/4 or 0.25. Convert that to a percent by moving the decimal place over to the right twice or multiplying by 100 to get you are keeping 25% of the sale. Okay, so on every full zip, you're going to keep 25% or 1/4 of the money you bring in. Versus the hoodie, you are keeping 43%, which 43% is almost half. So that's a much better business decision, is go and sell those hoodies because you're going to keep almost half of what you bring in versus the full zip, you're only keeping 25%. Make sure you have all these examples down, and I'm going to summarize below. Okay, so how to calculate as a percent. Let's go ahead and summarize. First, you're going to write your profit margin or your percent as a fraction first. So for example, let's say you want to convert 1/2 to a percent. Start by writing it as 1/2. Then you would divide that to convert it to a decimal. So 1 divided by 2, if you plug it in your calculator, if you don't believe me, 1 divided by 2 is in fact 0.5 or half. Okay. And then you're going to multiply by 100 to convert that to a percent. So this is not 5%, it's 50%. Okay, that's often a common mistake. You may want to note that 0.5 is not 5%, it is 50%, pretty common mistake. So that's just the mathematical skill that will help you calculate the profit margin, which I went over above here. Wrote as a fraction, decimal, then percent. Okay, most importantly, that is what a profit margin is. It just expresses the percent of the sale you are keeping, in short. Okay, I can even add that. The revenue or sale. What percent of the revenue or sale are you keeping as a business? Okay, this will be really helpful to determining which items are most profitable, whether it's for our class business, for your own business, for any business in existence. They're going to talk about profit margins. So if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video.